Is it fake juice? It can't be fake juice. Not with you guys. No way.
Does Todd have makeup on?
Wow.
No?
I always look this good.
Yeah.
No, he must be. He's doing TV. Hey, he's doing TV. Yeah, this is like the 9th media thing I've done today. So if I'm keeping it short and sweet, you guys know why.
Because we're going to get a walk-off.
Maybe.
There you go.
Maybe. We'll see how you guys. If you guys are nice. If you guys are nice to me, I'll let you guys have a walk off.
Be a good man. Be a good boy.
I'm trying.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. What is the playing status of DaRon Bland?
Yeah, I think DaRon will miss this week. Again, I'm not going to put a timetable on it, and he'll get back as soon as he can. But we will be without him this week.
What's the plan to replace him? And also, you have some other things to do on the nickel. What do you do with those two things?
Yeah, again, the beautiful thing about DaRon is the flexibility that he gives you. Calvin, I mean, just the ability to play inside, outside, all that stuff. So we've got some different packages that we're going to use. We've used the safety down there some. We can play a little bit more base defense, but also, you're going to see Reddy Stewart play a lot of football, and this is why you make those moves. When you get to final cuts and you cut the roster down, you see a player that you like. That you haven't been around, and you make those moves. That's kind of why you do it. And the benefit for him is he knows Flus's system. And what we love about him going all the way back to his days in college is his ability to take the ball away. I think it was 12. You might check me on that. 12 interceptions or something like that in college. And so he'll get quite a bit of action.
I know that this is the business you're in, but it's frustrating a little bit that you haven't really had all your pieces on defense, like even going back to Micah, and now you lose Bland here in week 2.
Yeah, you don't think of it that way. You just adjust and adapt, and it's the nature of the business. And we all have to deal with it at different times of the season. And we've talked about there's help on the way. But again, I'm very confident in Reddy and the guys that we have, and the plan is a good plan. We have to go out and execute it. And but yeah, injuries are part of the game. You hate to see them happen, and when they do, though, it's supporting the player to get them back as soon as you can, which DaRon will do.
Clarence Hill, DLLS Cowboys. How does Diggs' situation complicate things? Last week he played mainly just nickel. He didn't play in the base defense. And how does his situation complicate? Is he ready for more load to play in the base defense?
Yeah, I think he'll play some more. Again, is it going to be a full game? We'll see kind of how he's feeling. But there is a ramp-up thing that we've talked quite a bit about. I thought he did play really, really well. I think he's practicing at an extremely high level. That's exciting for us. You'll see him in some more packages than just the one you saw last week. That was, again, part of the plan. But, again, to say he's going to play the entire game, I'm not ready to say that yet. We'll see how he does in practice today. And, again, they've got some weapons. I mean, Malik Neighbors is obviously an extremely young superstar, I think. And, again, they'll be difficult to keep a top on,
Speaking of Reddy, is he more of a slot guy? Does he play outside? How do you?
Yeah, he's more comfortable inside. He's more comfortable. He played outside some for Minnesota in the preseason. He's more a better fit to play inside just because of his instincts, and he's a really good blitzer. And so I think he's more comfortable inside, especially being new to the system. And not the system, the team.
One more question. If Reddy's more comfortable inside and Diggs does not get the full load outside, who's the other option to play outside for if Diggs is not going to go forward?
Yeah, we're going to look at some different things, some potential elevations and things like that. But, again, we'll be watching today's practice. We got some good competition going on out there.
Brian, Todd Archer with ESPN. Is this an early part of the season? There's always these unknowns, or is this a week 1 through 18 scenario where you're always kind of juggling things?
You're always juggling. That's the thing I think that's different for me is, just being in this role, all I cared about was, okay, who are we getting up offensively? And now you're kind of going through the process and, okay, well, hey, we've got this move that we have to make. And, okay, hey, here you are. And with, Winfrey, his situation, okay, what do we do? How do we adapt? All that stuff. But, it's 24/7 conversation. But, again, like I've said, one of the benefits for me being a new head coach but being here, Todd, is that, again, very seamless conversations with Will McClay, Jerry, Steven. We'll get together today a little bit to kind of have our final conversations, see how practice goes today. Today's our Friday. It's our last day really running, which is different. Usually we practice on Saturday last couple of years. But it's the nature of the beast, man. And, again, that's why you have the rosters that you have and you have the elevations, and you have to be very strategic with what you do because there's limitations to how you can do those things.
In the last 2 years, this team's lost 2 Hall of Fame offensive linemen. How comforting is it to have a guy like Tyler Smith ready to I don't want to say become a Hall of Famer, but just to have him around?
Yeah, again, Tyler's I think he's the best guard in football. I don't think I'm overselling him. I really think he is. But here's what I love. I love the mindset of our football team right now. And what I want to point to is the physicality of the offensive line, the way they're playing. I mean, Tyler Guyton took a step last week, I thought, with just the way he played the game, the physicality. We all know who Tyler Smith is, Cooper Beebe. I mean, his command and leadership is awesome. Tyler Booker, he's wired the right way. And, of course, there's Terrence Steele, who's the guy that, again, he's just been here the longest of those guys. But, like, even Dak feels it. Like, the Javante feels it. Like, those guys, there's an urgency, man, and they want to play the game the right way, and that's exciting.
John Machota with The Athletic. How would you say things went with you and Clayton in week one, in the communication and things like that? And just kind of how do you think that can grow? Obviously, he's a guy that's up in the booth and not on the sidelines.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing. John Clayton probably wants to jump out of the booth every 5 or 10 plays because he's, most of these, tight end O-line guys, right, they're used to being down on the field. But me being the play caller, you need a great set of eyes, which certainly Clayton has a great set of eyes up in the box. And I thought the communication was really, really good. He's quick to be able to diagnose things. He shares the information very, very well. He and I find the pockets of time to make sure we're on the same page. But, again, when you've got a guy like Clayton that's an elite coach and he's an elite communicator, it allows you to get the information that you need in a tight window because you're trying to make the adjustments and stuff, but you got your head coaching duties, so you kind of have to stay, close to the action. But I thought it was very, very good, and it'll get better just because, again, the more comfortable you get, And
you mentioned the other day, I think, his sense of humor. When does he get a chance to show that? Because he's not going to show it to us when he's sitting where you're sitting.
You guys have got to get him a couple beers, have him, have a social or something. But it's honestly every day. It's every day. It's in front of the offense. It's in front of the coaching staff. That's just the way he's wired. And again, I like it. It's great. It's good for the players. They like it. It relaxes them. Again, I say it all the time, man. We're so blessed to play this game and coach this game. And if you can't have fun doing it, then why would you do it?
Nick Harris, Forward Star Telegram. We saw Kevontae Turpin's integration into the offense at training camp really take a step forward, coming into this second contract that he's got. We saw him on the field in week one being used either as a decoy or putting the ball in his hands. How valuable is a piece like him in the offense that you're trying to construct here early in the year?
Well, we want to be multiple, Nick, and he's a guy that gives you that. He's playing more receiver right now. I think the reason for that is, he is truly a weapon. His speed is different, and he's developed. He's earned that. He's earned the ability to play more receiver. And, of course, anytime you can get him the ball, teams are smart. They don't want to kick to him. You saw Philadelphia truly just kick it out of bounds on punts because they didn't want to mess with him. So it's our job as a coaching staff to use him. And, again, I say this a lot, but it's worth saying. He has learned how to piece the package together. And because now he's so confident in learning our system and how we move him in so many different spots, the sky's the limit. But he doesn't need much space, and you get the ball in his hands, and there's no telling what he can do with it.
And then with Mozzie Smith, a couple of his best performances in his career have been against the Giants. Do you factor that in going into making game day decisions, or is it more about what he's done lately?
Yeah, it's more. Again, I agree with you. He's played really well against the Giants, but it's not about that. You don't say, hey, this guy, he's got the magic answer against the Giants. It's more about, hey, what are we seeing in practice, and what are we seeing in meetings, and is he competing every day the way he's supposed to? And the answer to that is he's been good this week. He's having a really good week. That doesn't guarantee anything. It's a deep roster. We feel very good about our defensive line, our depth, both interior and outside, and it doesn't guarantee anything, but we'll see how he does today. And that compete every day mantra is real.
Tom.
Tommy R, Cowboys.com. You and Dak have both talked about kind of those seam balls to the tight ends, and he and Jake seem to really be on the same page in 23. First of all, just how difficult of a pass is that in your experience for quarterbacks to make, and then when they miss time playing together, how difficult is it to reestablish that? I know he kind of underthrew some or wanted some of those back in week one.
Yeah, it really is. It's kind of a me to you throw, Tommy. There's I thought he made a good one to Brev down the middle of the field, and then he kind of left the one short on Ferg, and then Ferg really, the one he got the penalty against for getting hit. I thought he could have made that play. It's all timing, and they're not gonna miss very often, but. It's one of the most beautiful plays in football when you hit those things, and the reason that is because usually when you're doing it, most of those were split safety, cover two, which we're going to get quite a bit of because of the excellent edge pieces we have. There's different ways to throw it. You can back shoulder a guy if the mic's playing high, and if the mic's sitting low, you throw it over the top. So that's why it's such a meaty you throw, because, again, the coverage, not just the coverage, but the technique of the guy running down the middle of the field affects the type of throw it is, and that's why you'll see those guys before and after practice working and talking about all those throws. And again, this is something that's not just physical. Like, these guys spend time a lot talking about, hey, what'd you see here? Hey, I was thinking I was going to do this, or hey, Dak, I thought you were going to put the ball there. And that's the magic, man. That's why, you have confidence, because they're talking through scenarios. And I think the ball should have gone here. Well, okay, I was expecting you to do this. Then they hash it out and they kind of come up with a agreement of, okay, yeah, I see it the same way.
And then Sunday's the 1,000th game in franchise history. Jerry said his greatest player in franchise history was Roger Staubach. I know you're a football junkie. Do you have one, maybe favorite moment?
Well, I mean, I used to live at the 12. Again, I was actually on the 12th floor. And the funny thing about the 12 was the 12th floor at the 12 is all about Roger. And literally I would catch myself coming home late at night, and being the football junkie that I am, I literally would walk, and he's got the letter where the Cowboys selected him, right? And then there's all these different photos of him, holding up trophies and things like that. But, I mean, just the ability to lead the team back. And I just love that, because I think that's where the game is always going to be, and that's why it's so exciting, is the ability to be, what was it, Captain Comeback? That was his nickname? He just was an unbelievable player, and truly one of the first incredible improvisers. I just remember the athlete, man, and it's like now you watch today's game, and it's like that's all you get. I mean, if you can't move as a quarterback today in this game, you wouldn't play. So it's so cool to think what he was doing 40, 50 years ago, and how the game has evolved to where they're all like that now.
Scholar.
Sky Dixon with the AP. I know you don't want to put a time frame on Bland, but are you confident that it's not going to be longer term like it was last year at this point?
Yeah, again, I mean, I know this. DaRon's going to do everything in his power to get back, and he's motivated. He wants to get back. He's in a good spot, and again, we'll see. These things, they're different. And so to put a timeline on it right now would be unfair to him. But I do know this: he's been here all day, all night, trying to get right.
You alluded to this earlier. You're spending a lot of time worrying about cornerback and not so much about quarterback at the moment. How are you enjoying sort of the CEO aspect of things?
I do more media than I'm used to, and that's part of the gig. I get that, but again, I when I'm able to do the football, which is more than you would think, it just makes for some later nights, which is fine. I'm kind of a night owl. I've moved my radio show. Mike used to go at like 6:30 in the morning. I'm not doing that because I'm a night owl. I'm not a morning person. But it's been great. And again, the best part of it, truly, the best part of it is the leading of these young men and connecting with these young men. And there was something yesterday I'm not going to share with you guys where one of our players was going through something very difficult, and just to be able to close the door and sit with him for 30 minutes and cry and share and talk, I love that. And I think that's one of the strengths of mine, is I truly am a compassionate person that loves these guys, and those aren't just words that I put out there for the world to impress people. I really don't care. That's who I am, and that's more important than the X's and O's. I'll stay up late and get the X's and O's done.
Garrett.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Brian, you were emotional in the national anthem before your first game as the Cowboys head coach. What would that feeling be like for you after getting your first regular season win as the Cowboys head coach?
I hope it's one of many. It's not about winning one game. It's not about your first game. Again, I plan on being here a long time, and I'm just excited to get the home game started. I know the fans should be excited about where we're going and what we're trying to do, and just really excited to get out there in front of our home fans and play well and hopefully get a division win.
Joe.
Joe White, Dallas Morning News. You talked about Matty Eberflus's adaptability, and we saw it after the break against Philly. This week, when you lose a guy like DaRon Bland, who is so multiple, how have you seen Eberflus's kind of adaptability behind the scenes play out this week?
Yeah, again, what I would say about him is like he's the same guy every day. That's what I love about him. You know, I mean, you can see the maturity in him as a coach. You know, I'm kind of more of a I get up and down. I get a little bit of a temper. But I think, you know, Matt has just been like this, man. And it's part of the game, and he knows that. And there's not much he hasn't seen in his 30-plus years or whatever it is coaching. And I love that about the guy. I respect that about the guy because there's a lot of people in this business, man. It's like when you're winning and you're playing good, they're up here and everybody's happy and high-fiving. And then when you're losing, they don't talk to anybody. And, you know, like, I don't change, man. Like, I walked in here Friday morning and saw one of the security guys like, hey, what's up, man? You know, like, you're not going to change. I'm not going to change who I am because I'm authentic, and this is a long-ass season.
You mentioned being a night owl, too. What does that look like the night before a game?
I sleep great. It's really more for me. You know, we'll have meetings the night before. Tomorrow night we'll have some meetings, hit some little touch point things that we have to hit. You'll do that on noon games and 3:25 games, primetime games. We don't bring them in. We'll bring them in the next morning. But, yeah, I'll finish up the things I need. I'll practice calling the game a couple times with Tyler Boyles and go home and sleep like a baby. And I'll be up early because of the noon game, but excited about getting to AT&T.
Saki's of The Athletic. Brian, earlier this week you talked about having a number of targets for receivers at times. What goes into setting that number week to week, and how far down the depth chart do you go with that?
Yeah, again, it's literally the way you do it is, you know, as you build your plan, you've got, okay, primary receivers, secondary receivers. So as you put it together, you say, okay, hey, who's the primary on this one? If it's CeeDee Lamb, it goes in the CeeDee Lamb chart. If it's George Pickens, it goes in the George Pickens chart. If it's Javonte Williams, it goes in Javonte Williams, Terp, and so on and so on and so on. Some guys have more than others, but most guys are on there. But the size of the sheet, I think I said yesterday, CDs look like this, you know, and you know, it's one that we're flexible, and it's truly where you can actually look at it and say, okay, it's third down and the game's on the line. The way I think of calling, you know, game on the line type plays or end of game plays, you think of players, not plays. That was beat into my head by my father many, many years ago. Don't think of plays, think of players. So that's one of those deals where you look at the call sheet and you're like, okay, this says number 3, George Pickens. Okay, I like that. Oh, the secondary receiver, CeeDee Lamb. Let's go with that one. And that's a big part of calling plays, man. Get it to your best players.
How does game flow factor into that? Meaning, if you have 15 as the target for CD going into the game, but he only has 3 targets in the third quarter, how do you operate through that?
Well, again, the first thing you do is you look at the situation of the game. How many plays have we had? Are we running the ball great? You know, if we're running the ball great, then he might not have the same amount of targets. And, again, the big part of this business is adapting and adjusting. And, again, I'll say this about George. I think I said it earlier in the week. You know, the thing about George, he had the 4 targets. He was totally into the game. He was great. And a big part of that is your communication with them about, hey, what are you seeing? What do you like? And the players understand, you know, that the game goes certain ways. And last week we had 25 minutes time possession. You know, imagine if we would have had 30. And we can help ourselves by converting third downs in the second half. But, you know, I think it does affect it. But, again, when the game is on the line, you're going to try to get the ball to your best players.
Brad Sham, Cowboys Radio 105.3 The Fan. Dak was asked yesterday how he thought the play calling went, and he kind of smiled and giggled and like he had a secret that he knew. And he said, yeah, it was pretty good. What did you think of it?
I thought it was good. I thought it was okay. I'm always going to be my hardest grader, I guess. You know, I'll be honest with you. You know, you call good plays and they don't work. You call bad plays and they work, and that's kind of the magic of the players. And that's why, you know, coaches – truly, I really, and I do this for a living, but coaches are overrated, man. We really are. I mean, if you come up with a good plan, you know how to lead, you know how to connect the group, and they'll play hard for you, that's our job. But when the ball is snapped, it's the players making the plays. They're the ones running, blocking, tackling, throwing, catching. It's not us. And, again, it's a humbling opinion of mine, and some coaches might disagree with me, but at the end of the day, this is a player's game, and that's why it's such a fun game to watch.
How did the visit with Clowney go? Is the door still open? Can you give us any update on?
Yeah, good visit. Yeah, good visit. Talked to him again yesterday. This is one of those deals where it's a business decision, and there's two sides got to come together. And I think that it was a great visit, and we'll kind of see how it plays out. But it was great seeing him, catching up, and hearing about what he's doing. When I talked to him yesterday, he was cooking dinner for his kids and talked to them. And I think his son goes, "I don't know you." And I said, "Well, you might soon, So I guess maybe is that my recruiting hat that I had on there? I'm back in college, I guess. But yeah, just it was great to see him.
Nick?
I'm not trying to press on the Bland timeline. I know it's still fluid, but has the decision already been made to not put him on IR, or is that still something you're working through?
Yeah, we don't think that that's what it's going to require. So I'd say no decision's ever final, but we don't think it's going to be something that significant.
Last one.
Coach, I'll lead the walk here on us Cowboys. Last week Eagles, this week Giants. Is there like a greater emphasis on the point you make to the players on these division teams? Like, does the intensity kind of go up a bit? Whereas like next week you're playing Chicago, kind of just like touch on that.
Yeah, it's a great question. And again, there's no right or wrong answer. I believe that each game is another championship opportunity. Doesn't matter who you play. Doesn't matter whether you play division opponent, AFC team, NFC North team. Doesn't matter. You got to go and play well. And my reasoning for that is when we get to a Super Bowl, at some point it's going to be against a team that's not your division opponent. And we want to be able to say, hey, we've been here before. It's just another championship opportunity. Don't change how you act. Don't go into the game saying, oh, we got to try really hard, because I think that's when players make mistakes. So doesn't matter who we play, when we play them, we all look at it the same.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys. I guess I got to give them a walk-off. I mean, here we go. Players up out of the Here comes Tyler.